Let's talk about something that might sound boring at first glance, but is actually a hidden drama playing out behind the scenes of your everyday life. Rare earth minerals. These unassuming rocks are quietly causing a massive headache for anyone hoping to buy a new car or even just keep the auto industry running smoothly. In recent years, China and the US have found themselves locked in a high-stakes standoff, and at the very heart of this conflict are rare earths, essential ingredients for modern technology. When former President Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, China didn't just sit back. They threatened to limit the supply of these crucial minerals, sending shockwaves through global supply chains. So, why should you care if you're just looking to buy a Honda Civic or any other car? Because today's cars, especially electric vehicles, are packed with advanced technology, from batteries to touchscreens, all of which depend on rare earth minerals to function. When China, the world's dominant supplier, restricts exports, car factories everywhere are left scrambling, unable to finish building vehicles and facing costly delays. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a full-blown crisis for the global auto industry, threatening jobs, investments, and the future of transportation. Automakers have poured billions into electric vehicles, betting big on a cleaner future. But all that progress now hangs in the balance, caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war over a handful of obscure metals. It's like planning the world's biggest concert, only to discover that the only company making guitar strings has suddenly shut down, leaving everyone in limbo. Right now there's a quiet panic rippling through the auto world. Even if you don't see it on the front page, industry insiders are bracing for impact. Decisions made in Washington and Beijing aren't just political. They're shaping the jobs we have, the prices we pay for cars, and even our ability to meet climate goals. This isn't just an abstract economic problem. It's a real-world issue that touches families, commuters, and anyone who depends on affordable transportation. And it all comes back to these strange, powerful little rocks, rare earth minerals, that most of us never thought about before, but now, they're impossible to ignore. So what exactly are rare earth minerals and why are they suddenly so important? Despite what their name suggests, rare earth minerals aren't actually all that rare. The real challenge is that they're scattered in tiny amounts, making them tough and expensive to extract from the earth. Imagine trying to pick out every chocolate chip from a giant cookie without breaking it apart. That's what rare earth mining is like. A painstaking process that requires a lot of effort and precision. There are 17 of these minerals with names like neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. They're the secret sauce behind much of our modern technology, quietly powering the devices and machines we rely on every day. For example, neodymium is used to make super strong magnets that are essential for electric motors, helping electric vehicles travel farther on a single charge. Without these powerful magnets, electric cars would be heavier, less efficient, and much more expensive to produce. But it's not just cars. Rare earths are hidden inside your smartphone, wind turbines, MRI machines in hospitals, and even the headphones you use to listen to music. They're everywhere, even if you've never heard their names. Our entire modern world depends on a steady, affordable supply of these materials to keep running smoothly. And as we push for more green technology, like electric vehicles, renewable energy, and advanced electronics, demand for rare earths is skyrocketing. Here's the paradox. To build a greener future, we actually need to dig up more of the earth. And unfortunately, the mining process can be extremely damaging to the environment if not managed carefully. To make things even more complicated, one country, China, controls the vast majority of the world's rare earth supply, giving it enormous influence over global technology. For years, the world built its tech future on the assumption that rare earths would always be available and affordable. Now that assumption is being put to the test, as shortages and supply chain issues make headlines. As we race to save the planet with new technology, we're realizing just how much we depend on these hidden minerals, and how vulnerable that makes us. The gatekeeper to this process has the power to lock the door on global supply, and they're not afraid to use it as leverage. That's why rare earths, once obscure and overlooked, are suddenly front-page news around the world. Why is this a China problem? The answer lies in the sheer scale of China's influence over a resource that powers our modern world. China dominates the rare earth market, controlling up to 95% of global supply. These minerals are essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced military technology. But it's not just about mining. The real challenge is processing these minerals, a complex and toxic process that China has mastered while others have fallen behind. Decades ago, China made a strategic decision to invest heavily in rare earths, willingly accepting the environmental costs that other nations refused to bear. By offering rare earths at rock-bottom prices, China forced competitors out of business, leading to the closure of mines in the US, Australia, and beyond. Now, China holds the power to turn the tap on or off for the world's tech industry, controlling the flow of these critical materials. When China restricts exports, prices skyrocket. Car companies and electronics manufacturers are left with tough choices, either absorb the extra costs or pass them on to consumers like you. If restrictions become severe, actual shortages hit. Factories grind to a halt, workers are sent home, and the launch of new car models is delayed, sometimes for months. A single decision made in Beijing can ripple across the globe, closing a factory in Ohio or stalling production in Europe. This gives China enormous leverage, an economic weapon it can wield in global trade disputes, influencing negotiations and outcomes. And China has already shown it's willing to use this power, imposing export restrictions when it suits its interests. The world's manufacturing sector is in a headlock, with China reminding everyone who truly controls the supply chain. The result? Higher prices, fewer cars on the lot, and a frantic search for alternative sources and solutions. The rare earth monopoly is a powerful tool, one that's squeezing industries and economies worldwide, forcing everyone to rethink their strategies. The question now is, what can anyone do about it? And is there a way out of China's rare earth grip? To understand China's rare earth flex, rewind to the recent trade war. President Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, aiming to protect US industries. China hit back with tariffs of their own, targeting American farmers, but their real power was rare earths, critical for US tech and defense. By threatening to restrict exports, China could hit the US where it hurts most. This isn't new. Back in 2010, China halted rare earth shipments to Japan after a dispute, causing prices to skyrocket and tech companies to panic. The world briefly scrambled for new sources, but as soon as China resumed exports, everyone went back to business as usual. The urgency faded, and dependency on China continued. Now, with new tariffs, we're seeing a sequel to 2010, only bigger. The alarm is ringing louder than ever. The world's reliance on China's rare earths is a vulnerability that can't be ignored. Every time there's a trade spat, the risk of shortages and price spikes returns. The lesson? The snooze button on this crisis has run out. The world must act, or face the consequences. The rare earth standoff is here to stay. What does this mean for you? First, car prices are rising fast. When rare earth prices double or triple, automakers' budgets are wrecked. Even a small amount of rare earths in each car adds up to a huge cost. If companies can't get the magnets they need, production stops, no matter how many other parts they have. Major automakers are already scaling back production and delaying new models. For consumers, this means higher prices and longer waits for new cars. The EV you wanted might now cost thousands more or be delayed by months. Car companies are scrambling. Do they redesign cars, pay more for minerals, or beg governments for help? This uncertainty is toxic for business and slows the shift to electric vehicles. The rare earth crunch is jamming up your dream car, and the road ahead is bumpy. Faced with this crisis, countries are scrambling to find new sources of rare earths. The US is trying to revive old mines like Mountain Pass in California, with government incentives to speed things up. But opening a new mine is slow, expensive, and environmentally risky. It can take a decade or more. That's why many countries let China handle it in the first place. Now, Australia, Canada, and parts of Africa are joining the hunt, aiming to build a non-Chinese supply chain. The plan mine in one country, process in another, and sell to global manufacturers. It's logical, but China has a 30-year head start and unbeatable economies of scale. Competing on price will be tough, so governments may need to subsidize new projects. It's a massive, urgent undertaking. The world needs rare earths now, not in 10 years. The race is on to break China's monopoly. But building a new supply chain is a marathon, not a sprint. The clock is ticking for car makers everywhere. Some are looking for rare earths in a surprising place: old electronics. Urban mining, recycling rare earths from discarded gadgets, is gaining traction. Every old phone, laptop, and EV motor contains valuable minerals. Recycling is greener than mining and could create a stable, domestic supply. The challenge? Collecting enough old devices and efficiently extracting the minerals. The process is complex and still more expensive than buying from China. But as millions of old EVs reach end of life, recycling could become a game changer. Governments and car companies are investing in new recycling tech and right-to-repair laws. It's not a quick fix, but it's a crucial part of building a resilient supply chain. The future of rare earths might just be hiding in your junk drawer. No country can solve this alone, so new alliances are forming to secure mineral supply chains. The US, EU, Japan, Australia, and Canada are teaming up, sharing data, investing together, and building a friends club for minerals. The old model of buying from the cheapest source is over. Now it's about friendshoring, relying on trusted partners. These alliances are signing deals, combining expertise, and helping new suppliers get started. The goal diversifies sources so no one country can hold the world hostage. Building trust and cooperation takes time, and China may try to undercut new projects. But the stakes are high. The shape of the global economy, and your next car, depend on these new partnerships. It's a global chess game, and the board is the entire planet. The outcome will shape trade, tech, and climate action for decades. The mineral alliances of today will decide the cars of tomorrow. We're at a crossroads. The rare earth crisis has exposed a huge weakness in global supply chains. One path is confrontation, more tariffs, more barriers, and a push for total self-sufficiency. This might feel safer, but it's expensive and could slow down green tech. The other path is cooperation, building alliances, diversifying suppliers, and creating new trade rules. This requires trust and compromise, but it could make the system more resilient. The choice isn't easy, and the stakes are high for car prices, the global economy, and climate goals. Do we build walls or build bridges? The answer will shape our future. One thing's clear, we can't ignore the power of these strange minerals any longer. The next move is ours.